So the final example for this one, most definitely different, and what we are going to do is switch it up because one of you noticed something that most groups in the past have not. At least they haven't noticed it until they wrote down their answer. Okay? And so basically, if we're going around x equals 2, we're going around this way, and you do have to solve them for the other way, and so they do have to be x equals. So basically, this one right here on top is y equals x squared, correct? Which turns into x equals?
No, that's square root of x, so it turns into y squared.
Y squared, right? Because it's y equals x squared, or the square root of x, so you square both sides, right? And this bottom one is y equals x squared, so this one is the square root of. So they just kind of flip-flop, right? So this one is the one that's now on the bottom, and that's the one that's on top. Everybody good with that? And what somebody mentioned is they basically said, because we are going to have to go dy, so this is what we're looking at. So there's your dy. They actually said, are we actually going to do work on this problem? Because we already know the answer to this. It's letter A. It's the exact same. It's just revolved the other way. But isn't it the exact same size? Revolved around the exact same amount? It is. So we're going to change the axis of revolution, which means that's no longer going to be helpful, but there you can see it. It's just going that way. And I'll take any suggestions you may have. We can go 1.5 if you want, because let's face it, isn't the calculator doing most of the work anyways? Or could we even do, say, -1? Okay, well, yeah, -8 is also an option. That'd be a lot bigger, x equals -8. But where do you want to revolve it? Let's make a choice. 1.5? All right. So 1.5 is right there, is what we're going to revolve it around. And so we're going to scribble that off. It's x equals 1.5 then, because we can do that. And actually, maybe I can just shrink it. I don't know if it'll work, but we'll try. There you go. That looks a little bit better. And so what you have to do is, what some people do is they just turn their head so it looks the same as the other one. They just kind of, or turn your paper, whichever is easier for you. So what we have to figure out is, again, which one is big R, which one's little r. Because once you've got that taken care of, all the difficulties are done. So which one's furthest from the axis of revolution, y squared or the square root of y? Y squared is further. But that distance right there, if I just do y squared, all I'm getting is that distance. (1.5 minus y squared). Very good. Because this distance here would be all of 1.5, and we're going to subtract out y squared. Okay. And so then little r, you're noticing, kind of follows the same pattern a lot of the time. Little r, which is the one that's closer to that, which is the square root of y, well, we're going to do 1.5 minus the square root of y. Now, how are you going to type that into your calculator, though, when your calculator only lets you type in x's? You just turn them into x's, but you got to make sure what you put out front. It is a huge coincidence that this time, yeah, there's still a pi. When you figure out these two numbers, you have to do it with respect to y. It's a coincidence that it's still 0 to 1. That's where they hit. Could it possibly be 0 to 2 on some other problems? Exactly, so watch out. So there you go. And then here you got to put basically big R. Obviously has to come first because of the subtraction involved. And it's 1.5 minus y squared. Squared, very easy to forget that. And 1.5 minus the square root of y squared dy, technically. And to do it on your calculator, you are just going to switch it to x's, but you do have to make sure that the 0 and the 1 are the right numbers. So how about this one? Do you expect this to be bigger or smaller than the first one, say? Yeah, definitely smaller because we're not revolving it as far out. Okay, so go ahead and figure that one out. So on a calculator, you could type it something similar to this. I believe I have all the parentheses in the right spots. 1.5 minus x squared, minus 1.5 minus the square root of x, all squared, 0 to 1. You told me this was going to be smaller, and there it is. But we do still have to take it times. So it comes out to be 2.1991. ish.
I got the same answer.
Any questions?